Hi there guys, it's the VN Critic, and I just wanted to talk about a little something called Clannad. Yeah, that's right. Recently I noticed that they have finally released the Steam game for Clannad. That's right. On Steam, $50. $50? Really? $50 for Steam? And I was looking through a whole bunch of comments across the web, and many of them were going like, I'm never going to pay $50 for a book that I'm going to read. And that's completely understandable for people who have never played a visual novel in their life. If I had first come into it, looking at the concept, yeah, it looks great. The DVD costs about that much, in my opinion, worth of getting all of it, but that's what you get for anime. Expensive, expensive, expensive. But we're talking about a visual novel here. And if you had any idea about this project, originally back on Kickstarter, it was Sekai Project. You know, that one that's doing all the stuff right now on Steam with all the Sakura games? Yeah, they're helping them produce them. So, what's coming on with that is originally they set up a campaign back in late 2014. It ran for about 2 months. And they wanted originally $175,000 for them to fund bringing Clannad officially into English. That's right, officially. For those who know, there was a fan translation, so to speak, of the original 2004 version that was released in Japan. But that wasn't good enough for everyone. We wanted an official release. And I'm not going to blame them for wanting to do that. That's great. $175,000. I can understand that. You know, kind of fitting about the costs of what it takes to license it, get all the rights, take care of everything, bring in translators. And that was something that was a little bit interesting to see, that they were bringing in official translators. Like, a fan translation's not good enough. You got to get, like, the scholars of Japanese to come in and say, okay, this is the English word you got to put in this little space right here so we can get it down to the very micromole. And if you know me at all, I hate bad translations. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. But the point is, if you look over them, you'll know they're bad translations. I have seen things where the incorrect word is typed in. That's just a typing mistake, in my opinion. I've seen where the wrong pronoun is used, or whatever other mode of speech you're ever going to talk about. Yeah, I've seen that happen. And it frustrates me a bit that nobody's really gone through and said, you know what? That just doesn't sound right. You know what we gotta do? Every translation's never gonna be perfect. Every word in the English dictionary cannot be necessarily translated into Japanese and vice versa. So what do? You have to compromise. Well, if you're going to translate it, fine, change it around a little bit. Obviously, it sounds like they were allowed to do that if they were able to go get their own translators. Otherwise, why wouldn't Key have provided their own, saying, nope, you have to use this exactly as it's translated. If one word's off, man, you're screwed. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is, why is it being released on Steam for $50? I can understand much of the concept behind it, because if you look at the original Kickstarter campaign, you had to give at least about $30 to get yourself essentially a Steam key. And it actually caused, when it came out, everybody was downloading the game and it became like one of the top 5 things on Steam for that week. But that's essentially because everyone had their key and they were waiting to download it as soon as it came out. But, yeah, I don't want to make those people feel bad. They donated $30. I shouldn't be putting it on Steam and only charging $25 for these people who donated $30 over a year ago in order for them, and actually it isn't even necessarily over a year ago, because that project on Kickstarter started right in about November, so it's about a year exactly to the date. And when I got Shiny Days, I was waiting like 4 or 5 months after I initially put in the pre-order to get the item. So it's not like it was that big of a deal to me. You knew they were going to meet their campaign. They made it pretty darn fast. In fact, they made over $540,000. Even their biggest thing that they were saying, hey, if you get it to this amount, we'll get a whole bunch of these bonuses included. That was $380,000. Where did all this extra money, this $160,000, go? Where? And yet you still are looking to charge $50? I saw the Black Friday price. I mean, okay, off 15%. But still, $50 for a digital release. I remember getting School Days here. School Days currently, you can kind of find it for a digital release and such for about $35. And this is the HQ version. And who was that? Sakai Project! That was their first project they were working on for localization, kind of fan translating School Days, until they were eventually turned into the official copy here. And I got that from like Seabiscuit.0 on eBay. I think that's his tagline now. It's been a while, but I didn't get it from eBay. Met him at a convention, a few conventions, kind of hit it off. And, you know, next time I go to a convention, hopefully I'll see the man. But he's a great guy. Anyways, side plug aside. My problem with this is it's alienating so many people. All the people that funded it in the Kickstarter, those are the people that wanted the official translation. Those are the hardcore fans. The people who loved anything that Key's done. Even Air. I mean, I own Air. I own Air. I've just said it out right now. I own Air. I should be charging you guys for that. But no, it's free. I'm very generous. Thank myself very much. But anyways, in the end, I just really don't think that that visual novel, despite it being one of the longest I have ever gone through in my day, and it's an amazing story. The anime fit perfectly with how I think the visual novel rolled out. But $50, it's alienating so many new people. That was the issue with it. All those new downloads weren't because it was this grand thing that everybody was trying to jump and get their hands on. It was because of already those people who had keys. Let alone, only about 250 people are getting physical copies of this. I mean, I don't know what the storage is for servers and things like that. If you're going to store for download purposes, how much that costs per month to store the amount of space that's needed. But I could go out and rent a storage shed with climate control for maybe about $35 a month around here. And this is Wisconsin. It's freezing half the year. And then it's boiling the other half. So, with a climate controlled room, I could probably store maybe about 10,000 copies of a physical released game for $35 a month. That's one purchase can pay off my storage fees. I don't know how you need to spend $50 for a downloadable copy. That's all I've got to say about that. Where did all this extra money go? It definitely didn't go into making things less expensive for the new players. That's what you want. You want to take a small niche market, and they even said that on their Kickstarter, that, you know, it's very small, you know, that's why it was very hard to bring Clannad into the English language and stuff, because it was a small little tiny market at the time back in there, and it started to grow because of Steam. But it's not worth it. I'm sorry. It's not worth getting a digital copy for $50 for somebody who wants to try out the market. Nobody wants to pay $50 to try out and see if they'd like a long visual novel. You can get short ones. I've seen all the prices, people. I've seen Manga Gamer. I see stuff on JList. I see every aspect that you can get an English copy of a visual novel. It's already been made. You've got in new translators to do the extra bit of work. All the main fee should have been was the licensing costs and such. It shouldn't cost you $50 to sell a digital game on Steam of that magnitude. I've looked into Yandere Simulator. That guy is putting aside and essentially turned it into a full-time job because he's getting on his Patreon, he's getting about, you know, $4,000, I was going to say per year, but he gets about $4,100 a month in pledges to focus entirely on Yandere Simulator, and that's mainly him. That's mainly him and maybe a few other volunteers and stuff like that that are working on that to make an amazing game that, if all goes well and incorporates all the things that we're hoping it will include, and then maybe even go on platforms and stuff like that, and consoles, only going to cost maybe about $20. That's a game being built from scratch. Clannad already existed. It's a good story. People had the fan translations. People lived with those, and they were able to survive. If you want to build this market, you can't sell the game for $50 when you are getting crowdfunded. You just can't. If you were buying it complete out of your own pocket, like any business model, if I'm going to buy the raw materials, if I'm Funimation and I'm licensing an anime, I'm not asking you to give me $300,000 so I can go license this anime and here, I'll give you a copy of it. I'm asking for you in advance. This is like an investor here. This is like me going out and saying, hey, why don't you give me $100,000 so I can start this company? Guess what? If I fail, nothing wrong with me. It's your problem. You chose to invest in it. Now they just turned that investing into the fans, but guess what? You're getting something out of that. You're getting the game. It was a pretty cut, clear idea that you were going to get it. But now you're trying to sell to the people who didn't know about it, to all the people who you expect to expand the market of these longer visual novels. Short little visual novels that take maybe about, 10 hours to complete. Most people that are getting those are either looking for, a quick little story they can sit down, see a couple days, and be done with. Normally costs maybe about $10. All them Sakura games, mind you, costing $10. And that's it. That's all they need. They're happy. They're content. Maybe a lot of them are just all encompassed in all the hentai material involved in many of those visual novels. But when you're looking at something that's all ages, like Clannad, something that never had an 18+ setup to it, unlike School Days, you could charge that. People are going to pay for it. They understand it's hentai material. Clannad is not. It's an all ages group. You're trying to get as many people, young and old, involved in it. You do not put a digital copy of the game out for $50 just because somebody told you to. Especially when somebody has already given you the funding to localize it, to get all the licensing rights. You didn't even add English voices, you just licensed the Japanese ones, and you paid translators to edit it. I've done stuff on the Ren'Py engine before. That's what a lot of visual novels are made on nowadays in the English-speaking community. It's a very easy thing to use. Doesn't cost me that much. I could create something in the matter of a week that's semi-decent, as long as I've got an artist, because I suck at art. But as long as I got an artist, we could do something like that relatively cheaply. Clannad, it was already there. Somebody already made a fan patch. You just had to make it in official English, and even if you're paying translators, $540,000 does not make me think like you're smart here, having it sold for $50, not really expanding the market, and most of those downloads on Steam were because of your $30 pre-donation status. This is the VN Critic. I love visual novels. I love Clannad. I love these companies. I love Key and everything they do. But it shouldn't cost somebody $50 to enjoy it. The VN Critic, signing out.